current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.
Thank you so much again for tuning in. This is Enough Said, again with your hosts, Gemmo, CARO and CHERRI Poet. So, CARO, what say ye?
In 1619, the first slaves landed in Virginia. In 1619. So that makes it, it's not a coincidence. That is exactly 400 years after the slaves landed in Virginia that people's eyes are now being opened and you see action taking place to end the brutality against Black people in America.
Well, I'm a realist. I don't think I'm pessimistic. I'm realist. Will this be the Catholics? It's the Catholics for change, but will change happen, and will it happen the way we expect it to? Now, having said that, I have to say some changes have happened already. Lots of legislation. I wrote on a few in the Pennsylvania area, or Philadelphia, I should say, that has changed in city council. And it's across the board. It's in Minneapolis. It's many, even in Houston, there have been some changes that have been denoted. Let me just say what they have suggested. Now, remember guys, and audience, remember, most of the time when there are change, there's a body that has to rectify or confirm or sign off on this change, right? In Philadelphia and in a lot of these cities, some of these cities, the mayor is in agreement. But my understanding is in Philadelphia, you have to get some agreement from the police commissioner. I'm sorry, not the police commissioner, the union, the police union. And I imagine the police commissioner's input is going to be, but she's somewhat on board. So for it to finally make law, it looks feasible, but it's not gonna like happen overnight. What they recommend?
No.
If you again, today I was just being, again, following the pattern of the Bible. After the Israelites were led out of Egypt, it took another 40 years in the wilderness, and God said it's because of their disobedience. They had to wander for another 40 years. Obviously, the change when it comes to real lowering the curve of racism, I don't think we will see anything extremely significant until the next about 10 years. But I feel like they'll keep chipping away, just like how they have they're taking down the Confederate flags, they're breaking down statues.
They've actually canceled the show Cops that was running for over 25 years.
So because it made the cops look so good, as if they were always doing a good job, when they were actually in some instances very barbaric. I'm not saying they weren't doing a job in other instances. Yes, they were, but they also did some brutal things as well.
CARO, you're absolutely right when you say that, this right here is a start, and it's a good start. But there's a lot of show in it as well to quiet you down.
Guys, but when change, racism is in the heart. So that's going to take a while for people's heart to change. Some will, and the younger generation will faster than the older. However, when the laws start to change, then there's some progress being made. So when there's a policy that says the use of force policy, and I'm just going to name a few of it, they have a police oversight commission to review what police officers do, especially when it involves deadly force. Taking away some of the budget from the police. I had said defund the police, but I don't mean totally. realistically, we need some police, and we can talk about that in a minute, and about defunding the police and what that meant. Quarterly report, that's what our police commissioner said on police misconduct to the citizens and the mayor. Prohibiting chokeholds. Yay! And just to name another one, there's several others. And police immunity, meaning that one police officer can report without problems the bad misconduct of another.
Yeah, because one officer got fired the other day. A black officer got fired because she intervened. She embarrassed the other cop, you know, the bad cop, and they fired her. You know,
Right. Now, crazy. By doing the good thing, she got fired. By doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So since that, now they're saying, you know, they're gonna push these laws for police to police the police. But with that said, you know, it's not. It seems like practice, but remember, it's only proposals. But they also damaged Abraham Lincoln's, and wasn't he the one who emancipated the slaves?
And he said a couple of negative things, like he said, I'm emancipating them, but I can never see them as equal to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that, and let's just talk a little bit about, did anybody watch the congressional hearings with George Floyd's brother?
I had a hard time tearing up for George because my anger about what happened and what has been happening hasn't allowed me to cry. But there are a couple times when I tear up. One was when I first saw his daughter and his baby's mother speaking so well of him. But the other is at the funeral when I think the niece spoke, and she spoke so well. But today was a big day because I could see the pain. I could feel his pain today, and it was just too deep for me. It was just, you know, it really hurt me that this man and so many others, because other mothers were there that had lost their sons, and to see that they're even having a congressional hearing about whether or not the laws should be changed and police should be, to me, that was just too much talk. To me, because I know that if that was a white person under that man's knee, there would be immediate sign off.
Absolutely. But going back to the speech for a minute, when his brother said, is a black man's life only worth $20? That really got to me. That's all a black man's life is worth, and I'm paraphrasing. $20, really? That really got to me.
I didn't see the congressional hearing, but now that you're mentioning it, it has me thinking. You know, you got to remember this is an election year. So, do you think a lot of this quick movement to appease the black folk? Do you think a lot of it is political?
Well,
you know,
I can tell you the Republicans are not buying it because they're saying, oh, I'm so sorry Floyd died, but there's a lot of great police officers and they're doing their job and, you know, lip service. So
anytime you hear the but comes after what they say, it's the but that they're all about. Anytime you hear the but comes after what they say, it's the but that they're all about. Anytime you hear the but comes after what they say, it's the but that they're all about. They're not about the death of a black man. Yes, a lot of it is political. Some of it is obviously sincere. But again, if everybody was so sincere, laws would all, just like how, again, President Trump, as soon as Twitter said they're going to monitor his tweets, by the next day, there was an executive order. By the next day. And this is how fast we would have sprung into action.
Where is the executive order for the Black equality and police brutality against police brutality? Where is the executive order for Black people, Mr. Trump? We're going to save politics for another subject. Enough said about politics for today.
So the funeral was amazing. A lot of celebrities have come out and spoken and Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye West donated $2 million. Michael Jordan has donated 100 million.
To equality on a whole, to equality
on a
projects.
whole, which is significant. That is amazing.
But I mean, so they have removed a lot of the negative, the real negative things, because you have to remember, we're in a society where it's whites who write the books, and they cannot allow themselves to look as horrific as their actions were in the past towards Black people. So
and that's why they put Christopher Columbus discovered America when Indians were already here. So they have lied, they've fabricated, they have embellished.
Yeah.
Everything. So what this will also do, this is a turning point, because they even beheaded a statue of Christopher Columbus, I think in Boston.
I heard about that. Yes.
Because now everybody's realizing they murdered the Indians. It's not something for us to glamorize. They were murderers.
So and to see his face in the pictures, it tore him up. I saw a clip where he said, "Man, this really shook him. To the
core.
A Black man like that tear up. It hurt him to his heart."
And don't forget that Floyd Mayweather paid for the entire funeral.
Right, the former boxer. Yeah. Let's talk also about the Black Lives Matter new address for the White House. The new street sign.
They have one in Philadelphia too.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I do feel, I just want to, again, I might be a bit passionate, but I do not like lingo. Honestly, there's some lingo I do not like. I don't like the lingo that says excessive force. I think they should call it police brutality. I think there are too many euphemisms when it comes to the act of wrongdoing, usually on behalf of white people. So what they do, and I'm sorry, I'm not against white people, but it's a common practice that they use euphemism. So instead of saying the police brutalize Black people, they say they use excessive force. So it doesn't sound as horrific as it really is.
I agree.
Exactly. When they talk about a Black person who have done wrong, he is a thug. When they talk about a white person who has done wrong, he is a troubled person.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to watch these use, even in the lingo, there is discrimination.
Yes. And also when they talk about I call it victim blaming, they are coming up with so many things about George Floyd and his past. The fact of the matter is, at the time he was killed, he wasn't doing any of those things. And even if he was, he doesn't deserve to be killed. That's why we have a...
Well, let's talk about Chavin's past and his few past murders and,
beating his wife and all the other things we hear about.
Yes. You know what I mean? He was a criminal before he became a cop. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So, and then let's talk about the many white folk who are out there, especially during the marches, that are posing up, with kneeling on someone's neck, taunting the protesters and so forth. Yesterday,
one guy was a sheriff. He lost his job.
It's so funny that yesterday someone posted a picture on Facebook and I'm going to show you guys that picture on Facebook yesterday, where a Black man was kneeling on the neck of a white man. And I said, wow. Now that's what you call significant.
You see, so this is a problem I have. Yes, now that Black people are looting and burning, you have an issue with it, people? You who burnt down Tulsa, you who burnt down Rosewood, you who killed so many Blacks during those burnings, more than can be counted were killed. And yet now you have a problem because the hypocrisy is what angers me, and I'm not afraid to say
they taught us how to loot. They taught us how to burn. And if you notice in the looting and the burning, there's a lot of white people that's doing it, but it's all the blame is on black folk.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter.
Enough said.
Systematic racism.
Humans.
I want them all to tune in to our Enough Said. Yes, enough said.
Down with systematic racism.
Tune in next time. Enough Said with Gemmo, CARO, and CHERRI Poet. We'll
all right. COVID-19 next.
Current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.